Hello, it is phone me. You can tell that it's a couple weeks later because I got my books put up. Yay! You're seeing me here at the beginning of this video because I forgot to record an intro for this video. The reason for that is that it's the second part of a two-part installment. So if you somehow found this Heroes of Olympus video without watching the previous Percy Jackson and the Olympians video, I highly suggest that you check that one out first. In that video, of course, I am reacting to my initial impressions of the Percy Jackson series, the first 5 books, and in this video, of course, I'm going to be reacting to my impressions of Heroes of Olympus. Obviously, spoiler warning for Heroes of Olympus, and I guess Percy Jackson if for some reason you're like reading them out of order. But yeah, I already know this video is super duper long, so without further ado, let's get into the reactions. Okay, so that was my reactions to the first 5 books, and then you know, I liked him so much, I asked Amber, I was like, what do I do next? And she was like, read Heroes of Olympus. And I was like, okay. So that's what I did. Later in 2019, I started Heroes of Olympus series. Okay, Heroes of Olympus, book 1, whatever it's called, I don't remember. First book that I read was the first book in the Heroes of Olympus series by Rick Riordan. I like how I went, the last book that I read was The Last Olympian, the last book. And then now, the first book that I read was the first book. Anyway. I believe it was called The Lost Hero. I already returned it to Amber. And I really liked it. I gotta say I didn't like it as much. It's kind of crazy how like you see it, the cover of a book, and maybe it like doesn't really process. But now like, it's Festus. It just makes my heart so warm. I'm a big Leo fan, and I love the way he like loves technology, and like he has this like connection with Festus, kind of like it's like his pet. Kind of like he is like his pet. Sorry, calling Festus an it is like super insulting. Yeah, just like, I guess I didn't really process the cover too much, especially because when I read, I take the book jacket off. Aw, okay, moving on. I gotta say I didn't like it as much as I liked the Percy Jackson books. It's basically continuing the story of Percy and Annabeth and all of them. Yeah, I remember, this is so funny because like I actually really love the Heroes of Olympus, and I mean maybe it's because it's fresh in my mind, but I might like it more than the Percy Jackson series. I don't know. There are a lot of characters that I like a whole lot, but the series as a whole, I'm not sure. But yeah, I did not love the first book because I knew that Percy and Annabeth were like gonna be in the series at some point, but I thought they were gonna be in the first book like somewhere, and I think maybe they were briefly mentioned and that was it, and I was kind of like, so that's it? That's like, they're not involved at all? I don't know, I was like kind of upset. But from the point of view of new characters, and these new characters, for some unknown reason at the beginning, kind of keep thinking in Roman gods instead of... I just remembered also, another reason that I didn't love the first book is that I did not like Jason that much at first. Now, in, I want to say book 3 or 4, we kind of get to see, like, why he is this, like, perfect model child who, like, he's just, like, perfect and never messes up, right? And that annoyed me. Just, like, I don't know, he, like, has no flaws, and that's, like, annoying to read. But, like, you kind of find out why later. But, yeah, it made me not super invested in the first book because I just wasn't connecting with the characters. Greek gods, and throughout the story you kind of find out that they descended from the same gods when they were in like their Roman phase. So it's really interesting. As an adult, I really appreciate like learning about the different gods and stuff. I don't think I would have cared about that as a kid, but now I think it's really cool. I did have some criticisms. Like I noticed that I feel like a lot of Rick's main female love interests are very similar. They're like, I'm not like other girls, like, I don't really care about, like, makeup, I can just, like, beat people up and stuff, which is, like, cool. But at the same time, I think that considering that Rick Riordan, like, really prides himself on the diversity in his books, I hope that as I continue reading his books, I see more characters, like Drew, for instance, get redeemed. Oh, man, there's a lot to say about this section. So I already recorded my I pre-recorded my thoughts about this 5th book, and yeah, that, hold on to what I said about Rick Riordan relationships being very similar, because yeah, that's something that I thought about like throughout this series. It's like, once couples are dating. They're like just a normal couple. But I feel like he has one idea of how, at least how, like, I guess maybe it's how he thinks kids flirt or something. But he's just like, yeah, pretty much every budding relationship is like, I'm gonna bicker with you, and I'm like, the girl's like, I'm not very girly, I'm like, you know, oh, I don't need like makeup or whatever. I'm gonna like call you a nickname that's related to your power, like that kind of thing. Drew. I don't feel like Drew got redeemed. And I really did want to see that. Let's Google Drew Tanaka. I like Drew. I mean, like, I don't love her. She's, mean. Yeah, right. We kind of end the book with, like, Piper being like, I'm gonna take over the cabin, I'm the leader now, and, like, she kind of, like, I mean, I wouldn't say that she's mean. She gets what she, I would say, rightfully deserves. But, yeah, it's kind of like, in your face, Drew. And then, like, according to the Wikipedia article, the only other mention of Drew that we get is, like, she just doesn't mind Piper's position of leadership because she can spend more time on her hobbies. So, like, I guess Drew just, like, never stops being kind of conceited, which is, like, fine, I guess, but what I'm trying to say here is that I thought it would be nice to see more girly characters being girly and, like, still being tough. And I guess I didn't get that in the way that I hoped for, but I think that Piper, like, embraces her daughter of Aphrodite-ness, right? She'll embrace the fact that people think she's dumb, and she'll kind of, like, you know, be coy and play dumb to, like, kind of charm speak someone into doing what she wants them to do, like that kind of thing. And so I guess it's not exactly what I expected, but we do end up kind of getting this girly girl who can still kick butt and, you know, be a valuable member of the team without necessarily having to be like a tomboy. So I appreciate it. It's not what I was expecting, but I'm content in that area.
I want to be able to see someone similar to Drew, who's like pretty, cares about fashion, really likes boys, like all that stuff, and can also be a nice person. Things
It's
that I
Piper.
did like about the book, I love Leo. Leo is like my boy.
I love
funny
Leo
because
so much.
the moment they introduced him, I went, oh my gosh, this character is gonna annoy me so much. He's like one of those characters that just tries to be funny. He's like the sidekick guy. I don't know. I did not like him.
I don't know why I thought that, because like he's literally like fairly similar to Grover, right? Like he's the sidekick guy. He makes the jokes. He eats a bunch of food. Like he's it's like, you liked Grover, of course you're gonna like Leo. But I do remember I was really annoyed with him for the first like 50 pages, and then, well, I'll see if I explain.
For about 3 chapters, and then randomly, as soon as he became like, it was the dragon for some reason for me. Him and his dragon were just so cute to me. It's like a boy and his dog, you know, like a boy and his dragon. And him being all like techie, I don't know, I like it. Normally when you see any character whose power is fire, like their whole thing is like, I'm really tough and I'm like gonna beat you up and I'm angry all the time. And Leo has fire, but he's generally not angry. He's just kind of like, I'm chill, you know, I'm here. And he's also like the tech guy. I don't know. He's a non-traditional firepower kind of character.
Yeah, I love that Leo is, I mean, I love his ability. You know, he's got like, oh my gosh, I just love, there's so much to say about Leo. I love his tool belt that has like anything that he could possibly need. I love that he has got these fire powers, but he's kind of like insecure about them. He's not just like, he's not fiery, right? He has fire powers, but he's not fiery. I love later on in the series when he like kind of becomes basically like the captain of the Argo too, and he's like, you know, making all the repairs, keeping the ship like in shape. Again, like he has this connection with with Festus or with the ship, and there's just something so delightful to me about like this character who has these like very strong relationships with things. I feel like there are a couple points in the series where there's a line that says something like, you know, he liked technology because like it's reliable and he knows how to deal with it, and that's not something you can say about people. And I'm like, that's kind of a mood, right? So I like Leo. He deflects with humor. I love his friendship with Piper, too. Like, I like how she kind of flirts with him, like, a little bit, but, like, you know that there's nothing romantic going on there. And Jason's so secure in their relationship that he never has a problem with it. Like, I love their, like, relationship as, like, their friend group, those three. Yeah, I just love Leo. That's it. The end. Moving on.
So I really appreciated that. So he really, really grew on me throughout the book, and now I love him. Throughout the book, Jason, the main character, has, like, really severe amnesia, and it's really interesting to kind of see everything get pieced together. I feel like it was a little bit tropey at first, I guess, the whole amnesia thing, but by the end of it, I don't know, I guess they explained it well enough that I was like, okay, I can accept that. But overall, I enjoyed it. I don't think this series is gonna be, like, as good as Percy Jackson for me, but I think I'm going to enjoy it.
Yeah, I feel like I was understating, like, I was not aware of how much I would end up really enjoying Heroes of Olympus. I really like it. Okay, then I read the second book in the following year.
And kind of a segue from bicultural stuff is Son of Neptune, the next book in the Heroes of Olympus series by Rick Riordan.
I think that when I'm doing this update, I haven't finished Son of Neptune yet, so there's that.
And I got to a scene last night that just, like, made my heart so happy, because there's a character, Frank, who is Chinese-Canadian, I think, and there are all these different scenes where, you know, he's thinking about how he is clearly related to, like, the Greek and Roman gods, but he's also got all these Chinese roots, and he's like, what am I? I don't know. And there was a scene last night where Iris told him, you can be anything you want to be, and it was corny, but at the same time, I was like, man.
This is so funny to me. As I was reading this book, the line, you can be anything you want to be. I was like, wow, that's so sweet and, like, meaningful to, like, bicultural readers or whatever. No, he can turn into different animals. It's foreshadowing, Becca. It's so funny to me that I thought that it was just, like, an actual moral, but, I mean, I guess it kind of is. Like, it's still very sweet, but, like, he can turn into animals. That's it. Anyway, it is sweet. I like Frank in general, but if I had read this book when it came out, I would have been all over kind of the nice guy trope. Like, he liked Hazel first, hands off Leo, you know, she's Frank's, right? But now, I mean, I'm just not, like, a big love triangle person in general, but, like, now, I don't know, I don't love Frank's kind of just how immensely insecure he is. I've known too many people who, like, are insecure and, like, project that unhealthily onto others. I'm not saying that Frank does that, but it just makes him a little less appealing for me. I like Frank. He's fine, but I'm just saying, like, he doesn't stand out to me for that reason.
But, you know, it was corny, and the great thing about Rick Riordan is, like, when there's corny stuff in his book, the characters are like, that's corny. So I appreciated that. Like, Frank was like, okay. And I was like, good for you. But
yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. Like, if I saw that when I was reading, like, in, like, 2016, if there was a moment like that where there was a kind of corny, sweet moment and then a character was like, okay, I would have been like, that's annoying, right? We're, like, breaking the fourth wall. You're, like, taking me out of the immersion. Like, by this point in the series, I think it's hilarious.
But Percy's back, and that really confused me at first because we were from Percy's perspective, and I was like, Amber, did you give me the right book? Aren't these supposed to be about Jason? This, according to Amber, is the same events that happen in the previous book, but now we're seeing them from Percy's perspective.
I forgot about that. That was a really cool idea in the first two books, was that it was, yeah, like, it took place at the same time, but now we're just seeing a different perspective. I liked that, I think. Let's see if past me actually liked it.
I think that's cool. At first I was like, oh, I don't want to read about the same things all over again, but, like, it's very, very different. I like Hazel. She's a daughter of, I was gonna say Hades, but I guess they call him, what do they call him in Roman? I don't know. I will say, Rick is clearly trying to have a lot of diversity in his books, and I think that's
yeah, before I go off on a weird diversity rant, that's probably me not staying in my lane. Yeah, I love Hazel. I gosh, I just wish we got to see more of Hazel. She's got, again, kind of a similar arc to, like, it's weird. What is the deal with Children of Hades and just, like, being born in one time and then somehow ending up in the early 2000s? She's, like, in a different time, and she also, like, didn't have, like, kind of the transition period. Like, I feel like Nico generally, like, talks like a normal kid because, like, I guess, like, when you're in the Lotus Hotel, maybe you don't realize it, but the people around you probably start using modern slang. Like, I just feel like he talked like a normal kid. But Hazel will definitely have mannerisms, and the way she speaks is sometimes like, okay, yeah, you're from, like, the what was it, 19... Oh, Hazel Levesque. I have to look up so many things. Jeez Louise. 1928. But yeah, I like Hazel's stuff. Well, I think, let's see what Past Me had to say.
It's wonderful. One thing that's a little bit tricky is now he's doing this sort of book where you're changing to a bunch of different characters' perspectives. So I don't know why I pointed at myself, a white man, I believe he's white, is writing from the perspective of a Chinese-Canadian guy. He's writing from the perspective of Hazel, who is also not white. In the last book, he's writing from the perspective of...
Yeah, she's black. At this point, I wasn't, like, sure what her race was. So yeah, he's writing from the perspective of a black girl, a Chinese-Canadian guy,
Latino, and a Native American girl, and I don't know. It's like there's nothing wrong with it. Like, I love that he has diverse characters, and I think a lot of people think that's great. Cough, cough, J.K. Rowling. Some people like to compare it to J.K. Rowling and how she has no people of color anywhere in her books. I'll be reading the parts about, like, Frank and his Chinese heritage, and I'm like, aw, but did he do his research on this? And I bet he did, but it just doesn't hit as hard as when you're, like, reading Benty and you're like, oh yeah, like, a black woman wrote this and knows about, like, this perspective personally. But
yeah, one phrase that has come on my radar in the past couple of years is own voices stories. So, like, I think it's really important to read books or watch media that is, you know, created by people, like, people behind the scenes have the same experiences as the characters who they're writing. Now, that doesn't mean that if you're white, you can only write white characters, right? But I just mean, like, you don't want to only read stuff that is written by people like you. No matter how diverse the cast is, if all the writers that you're reading are white, it's still not going to be, like, the most enlightening experience, right? So that's kind of what I'm getting at here. And I feel like Rick is just always, I don't mean this in a bad way, but he's just, like, he gets a little ahead of himself. So, like, in this case, it's my understanding that he's writing these, like, racially diverse characters and, you know, a gay character ultimately, and I believe, like, a gender fluid character in one of the books. And he, at least from some of what I've seen, please correct me if I'm wrong, but some of what I've seen is that, like, it's not always done the best way or the most accurate way. But I think part of it is just that he was doing some of this stuff in, like, 2010. Like, I don't know, there wasn't, like, the protocol for how to handle that. I mean, that doesn't necessarily excuse it, but, you know, I think that he's just, like, I know that he's trying his best, right? And now, you know, so like, in retrospect, right, I would have recommended to Rick to, you know, talk to or collaborate with authors who have the experiences of these people, right? And now he's basically doing that, is my understanding, with the upcoming series that focuses on Nico and I think Will. Like, he's working with an actual gay author, so it's kind of like, okay, thank you. This is what you do, right? Same with, like, the Rick Riordan Presents series. So now he's kind of, like, using his name and his power and his privilege to build up non-white authors and promote kind of their series. And oh my goodness, I want to read, like, Saul and Gabby Break the Universe, Fix the Universe. Like, there's so many Rick Riordan Presents series that I want to check out. I feel like he's there now, like, where he needs to be in terms of, like, incorporating representation in a way that's, like, accurate and truly representative, and not just, like, some white guy kind of writing what he thinks these characters are like. I guess what I'm saying is, although I'm being critical, I think he's, like, I can tell that he's doing his best and his heart is in the right place, so I don't want to be overly critical of Uncle Rick.
I do really like the characters. Like, I don't know, I enjoyed the book with, like, Jason and Piper and Leo, but, like, really the only character that I was like, I really like you was Leo. Whereas, I don't know, Hazel and Frank, I just like feel connected to already. And I'm like 200 pages in. We have
I don't know why, but I just like stopped feeling so connected with Frank, but I do love Hazel. I just, I, it's been a long time, I feel like, since I read a book that was focused on Hazel. But, any Hazels.
a lot of new characters, and Percy has amnesia, and like you'll see he'll say things and it'll be like, oh, that sounds familiar, and you're like, oh yeah, why does that sound familiar? Because I read those books so long ago. I almost feel like Percy trying to remember, trying to figure out things along with him. So yeah, I'm enjoying the plot so far. I'm about halfway through, and like I said at the beginning of this update, I've officially been quarantined, so maybe I'll read the rest of this book soon. Hello, it is the last day of April, and I just finished.
I knew I did an
Son of
update for this
Neptune,
book sitting
which
on
I
the
think
couch.
is only like my third book this year. I have not been reading nearly as much as I would like to, but I did really like this book. I went through it really slowly because life's been crazy for everyone right now, I think. You know why I'm reading this book slowly. I got a lot going on. But I did really like it. I think I said this in my last update, but I really do like these characters more than I liked Jason and Piper and Leo. I do like Leo, but and it's nothing against them. They're fine. Maybe it was the fact that I wasn't used to like these new characters in the same universe, whereas this book I was like kind of expecting it. I'm really not sure, but there's just something about like Frank is so sweet. I love how he's like,
I forgot about that. Yeah, I do remember, like, I was reading this, and I believe Frozen 2, maybe? And yeah, Frozen 2 came out in 2019. Yeah, I think Frank also just kind of gives me Kristoff energy, because he's, like, a big guy that can beat you up, but he's so sweet.
like big and could totally beat you up, but like he doesn't want to. And I really like Hazel. She's got this whole like basically everyone has like these cool like dark secrets, and I love secrets in kids books. I was thinking about this with Frozen the other day too. Like Elsa's hidden powers can be a metaphor for like so many things, and I feel like in this book like their secrets that they're hiding are a metaphor for so many things, and it's always best when these secrets come to light. Hello, Bear. I just think that's a really beautiful lesson, like not only for children but also for adults, because like a lot of adults are like, oh no, I don't need to like talk about my feelings, I can just keep it all buried down, like keep all my secrets, and like it's a good moral for like people of all ages. As always, I got a little bored with the action towards the end. It was not as captivating as maybe some other Percy Jackson action scenes, but also maybe I just had a lot on my mind and that's why I couldn't focus. I don't want to blame it all on the book. But I definitely enjoyed this one, and now Leo and Jason and Piper are back, and I really look forward to like all these characters interacting. I think like maybe when I get to see like some dynamics with like everyone, I might like those other three a little bit more, if that makes sense.
Bad news, I did not record an update for Mark of Athena because reading vlogs don't do great on my channel. So in 2021, I was like, I'm not going to record a reading vlog. So I did not record my initial reactions to Mark of Athena. So I'll just like quickly refresh my memory on the plot here. I remember really liking this one. Oh yeah, this is where we get the Argo 2. I love the Argo 2, as I mentioned. Like I love just like Captain Leo. It's so fun. I love just like these kids being out on a boat, and like Rick has to be like, don't worry parents, they got a weird satyr coach, just they're fine. They have to go get the Athena Parthenos. I don't know how to say these Greek words, you get it. Oh yeah, the Eidolons. I did not like the Eidolons. I thought that was kind of like silly, I guess, and it made me like paranoid of like, are the characters who we think they are? I don't know, like it was fine, but for some reason that plotline didn't appeal to me a ton. Yeah, I definitely remember the aquarium scene. Good times. Yeah, so I literally earlier said that I don't... You said 2 battery clicks. Are you kidding? Okay. 20 minutes later, where was I? Yeah, I was talking about Mark of Athena. Yeah, I was going to say, one thing that I really like in this book is Piper starts to like master and feel comfortable using charm speak. Yeah, it's just an interesting like relationship she has with her power, you know. I guess a lot of the characters have something kind of along those lines. Leo has something similar, like he's kind of embarrassed of, you know, accidentally catching on fire. Yeah, I guess Frank too. So Piper has a kind of a moment where she realizes that she can use charm speak to like help her friends, and I'm like, that's pretty cool, and it's actually a pretty cool power. Yeah, and then I was going to talk about how the love triangle of Frank, Leo, and Hazel like is really emphasized in this book. And I think earlier I said that I don't love love triangles. I don't love love triangles. I actually kind of like this love triangle. I think it's just because I like all three characters, so I'm like, hey man, y'all work it out and I'll be happy no matter what happens. I like Frank and Hazel, but I also felt like Leo and Hazel's relationship I liked their chemistry, I guess I would say. But like at the same time, it's kind of weird to date someone because they like look like their grandpa who you dated. Like, I don't know. It's kind of weird. So I guess I think that Frank and Hazel being like end game, at least at the end of the series, it makes more sense. And like I also like, I don't know, like I want Frank and Leo to be friends. Like I just want them all to be friends and get along because I like all the characters. That was the biggest thing for me. Just like there was a lot of animosity between Frank and Leo just because they both like Hazel, and it's like, like just why can't we all just get along? Oh right, yeah. The end is so intense. They just straight up fall into Tartarus. I'm like, dang. That's a cliffhanger if I've ever heard of a cliffhanger. Yeah, this is a good one. And I feel like after I finished this one, I was like, well, I need the next one now. Like, please. So then I read the fourth book, House of Hades. And at this point, I knew that I was going to do this video. So I recorded my reaction. So I'm going to watch that now. This one is long, y'all. I went into detail.
A couple weeks ago, I finished the fourth Heroes of Olympus book. Man, this is one of those books that as I read it, I just took the dust jacket off. But like, this is a stunning cover. Is that Nico and
This
Hazel?
is a problem that I have. Like,
Or
I
is
kept
that
taking the
Percy
dust
and
jackets off. And
guess
like
it's
now I
Percy
look at the
and
covers and I'm
Annabeth,
like,
right?
they're good.
It's clearly been a second since I read this. No, yeah, Nico and if this were Nico and Hazel, this would be like 2 books ago. Yeah, this is Percy and Annabeth.
I forget that Percy has
Percy's
dark
hair is
hair.
like darker than I realized.
Is that what I said?
Yeah, this is a stunning cover.
I picture him blonde. I don't know why.
I really liked this one. As I was reading it, I remember thinking to myself, like, what is it about fourth books? I always like the fourth book. I really liked the fourth Percy Jackson book. I loved the fourth Harry Potter book because you got this like maze and tricksy stuff. Same thing with Percy Jackson. We got the labyrinth in the fourth book. And guess what happens in this book? Spoiler alert, more labyrinth stuff. And
kind of.
I mean, Tartarus is basically just a weird, hellish labyrinth.
Oh. Wait, what actually is
like,
the labyrinth? I thought I was talking about
I love me a fourth book. It's like it's building up to the action and fighting in the fifth book, and I'm not a big action person. So I mean, this is assuming that, you know, all series take a 5-book structure, which is not true. But in Percy Jackson, in both cases, the fourth book is kind of like building up to that very dramatic fifth book. And I don't love the intense drama. I just like the stuff that's like building up, but things are not quite that high stakes yet, I guess. So I was very, very into this. So yeah, I liked the overall plot.
Sorry, I wasn't really listening to myself. Yeah, because Hazel, at the doors of death, she uses a mist recreating the labyrinth. Yeah, I remember like she kind of like disorients the enemy and also I think her allies. Like it's a pretty trippy scene. Yeah, right.
I love that we're seeing things from like everyone's perspective pretty much at this point. Like, you know, for the first few books of this series, it's like, okay, this book is Jason, Piper, and Leo, and this book is Hazel, Frank, and the other one, Percy. I thought there was like a third new person with Hazel and Frank. Yeah. And I guess Annabeth, I can't remember, but you know.
I think I'm thinking of Leo at that point because I was thinking of the love triangle. Leo's just kind of always there, isn't he? It's nice to be a seventh wheel because you just like get to be in everyone's business. Sorry, I love you, Leo.
This isn't the first time that we're like seeing almost the entire crew, seeing things from their perspective. By the way, Rick Riordan, I hope I'm saying his name right. Gosh, I need to look that up before I actually like film the whole cohesive part for this video.
Narrator voice. She did not look up how to pronounce his name. I think it's Riordan. I feel like I've heard people say it.
I feel like Rick Riordan does a really, really good job of that multi-perspective stuff. I normally hate that in books. But the thing that he does well is he doesn't make them actually from first person Percy and first person Annabeth. So it's not like every chapter you read, you're like, who is I? Who are you? I don't know, right? If you start reading a chapter and you think you're in Leo's perspective, but you just keep seeing the word Annabeth, like, you're gonna be like, man, Leo is like really focused on Annabeth right now. Oh, we're Annabeth, you know?
And also he like puts their names at the top of the page. So if you're like, who am I? You just look at the top of the page. Like it's really, why don't more people do multi-perspective books like this anyway?
And also you can just literally look at the top of the page and it's like, Jason, we're Jason. Get it? You're Jason. By the way, Jason in this book, I've never cared much for Jason. Like, pretty much from book 1 of Heroes of Olympus, I've been like, Jason's okay, but he's, you know, he's like a pretty boy, he's perfect, and I don't know, that just doesn't like super appeal to me. But there's this chapter in here, we get a lot of Jason character development in this one, and I think I opened up exactly to the right chapter, where he's just like thinking about how at Camp Jupiter he always felt like he had to be this perfect like Roman guy, but he feels like kind of drawn to the Greek stuff and Camp Half-Blood, and like he feels like very split, so he has this like perfect persona on display, but like internally he's like having a lot of trouble with that. And I'm like, you know, I have related to that before, and it's nice to see that, you know, what we're seeing from the outside, this like, oh, Jason is just like this like all-star guy, internally he's like having conflict with himself that I feel like I didn't see a lot of even when I was from Jason's perspective in previous books.
Yeah, because like when we first meet Jason, he's got a lot of other stuff going on, right? He's like got amnesia. So like he's not exactly focused on like his, I don't know, deeper internal conflict. So we get to book 4 and I finally get to see like, I don't know, a more interesting side of Jason. So by the time I got to book 5, I remember I would see that a chapter was coming up that was from Jason's perspective and I would be like, I don't care. But then like, I would read it and I really like Jason actually. Like I don't know, he's pretty cool. Anyway.
And then like immediately after this great character development with Jason, we learn about Nico's little secret. I knew about Nico being gay. I think maybe Amber had mentioned it to me, or maybe my brother Connor, I'm not sure. But someone had mentioned that, you know, Riordan was like, kind of like, this is like 2013, like book for kids, you know, in 2013, I mean, it's for kids, I don't know why I put that in quotes. A book for kids in 2013 with a gay character, like that's pretty progressive. I got to the 4th book and I was thinking, okay, this is gonna be like when you watch a kid's TV show and you know there are gonna be gay characters, but like they don't want the show to get canceled, so we're just gonna put them in the last season or the last episode, you know. We've seen it with Steven Universe, She-Ra, right? It happens all the time.
I was about to pause and give specific examples and then past me gave specific examples. I don't even need to react at this point, like.
Voltron.
Oh gosh.
You know, shove your gay stuff in the last season so the show doesn't get canceled. It's a common strategy. So I was like, okay, Riordan is gonna, you know, wait until the 5th book to like say anything about Nico. And I was like, no judgment. I get that that's just what you have to do to have representation. It's unfortunate, but I wasn't gonna blame Riordan for that. So I got like halfway through this book and I was like, is this happening? Is this happening? I was like, no way, it's gonna happen in the 4th book and like we're gonna like find out and have it confirmed, and we did. And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know, it just blew my mind, because like even now in 2021, this does not happen. Just like having a gay character and saying, and you get to know that this character is gay for a whole other book. It blew my mind.
It's true, and I've already recorded my reaction to the 5th book, but that's not something that I really mentioned. I'm not gay, So, like, I don't, but I can appreciate representation and the feeling of being represented in certain ways, and just, like, obviously I can't relate to it, like, in the same way that, like, a gay kid could, right? But, like, it just makes my heart happy to see representation. Yeah, moving on.
It made me emotional for just, like, any LGBT kids who might have been reading this in 2013. It just made me very happy for them. So I thought that scene was great. I thought it was well done. I do think that, it's
I feel like I'm forgetting to mention
rough
the reason I
scene
started
because he's basically outed. But
I know that's controversial. Like, the way that we kind of find out is, like, by him being outed, but at the same time, I mean, it is something that people really do have to go through, so I don't know.
But I think it's well done, and, Jason is obviously very supportive,
Exactly.
And then I think
that's another thing that, like, it really, I was already, like, Jason was growing on me, and then that scene happens, and Jason just handles it, like, so well. He's supposed to be, like, a 16-year-old question mark kid in 2013, like, do you know how most 16-year-old boys would react to that? Like, it's just like he's a solid ally, keeps his secret, good friend to someone that he really doesn't even know that well. And he's just, he just responds very, very well. And I'm like, Jason, you're so awesome. I love Jason.
It's also, like, a very realistic coming out sort of story. Often you get these stories where, like, the gay character comes out to everyone at the same time, or, like, somehow everyone knows at once. This is really interesting because, like, now Jason knows and, like, no one else knows. And that's how it is in real life,
Yeah, and that's true here, too. I thought there was going to be something at the end where it's just like a whoop-de-doo, like it's just a big coming out scene at the end, right? Again, because that's just what you see in media often. It's, like, very oversimplified. But no, by the end of the series, Jason, Percy, and Annabeth, no. And that's it. It's like he's a real human who, like, just tells the people that he wants to tell when he's ready. It's the way that it really is, and that's delightful to me.
Like, when I've had friends come out to me, I'll be like, does so-and-so know yet? Like, okay, I just won't, like... Yeah, it's not just like a one and done, like, you're out. So...
You're always coming out.
I'm an umpire now. So I just thought that was really well done and very realistic, and, like, especially, again, for 2013, like, very well done. So, we get some great character development with Nico, not only the gay stuff, but also just, you can see that after he gets it, like, off his chest, he's, like, starting to change. And I don't quite understand the change yet. I think it will make a little more sense in the 5th book, but, like, all the other characters who don't really know what's going on, everyone except Jason is like, Nico's, like, way less emo now. Nico's, like touchy with Hazel. By the way, oh my gosh, Nico and Hazel are so cute. Like, I love me a healthy sibling relationship. Are you kidding me?
I'm sorry, I'm just gonna keep gushing about Nico, but, like, Nico and his sisters, and, like, I include Raina. Like, he is so protective of, like, Bianca and Hazel, and now he has, like, this sister-like relationship with Raina. He's just, like, he is so... it's just so wholesome. Come on, like, that's adorable. It's very sweet. And, like, a lot of the kids in the series have, like, godly siblings, and we don't see a lot of that interaction. I think it's really sweet.
So I love their little healthy sibling relationship. And he's, like, giving her hugs, and, like, I think he, like, kisses her forehead at one point, and it's like, everyone's like, whoa, Nico is, like, touching people, what the heck? And so, like, he's having this character development, and, like, I'm not sure if that's because he's just like, I came out to one person and now I'm extremely confident. Like, I don't know if that'll maybe make a little bit more sense.
I don't know what I mean with my tone of voice there, but, like, there is something, again, like, I'm ace, I'm not gay, I don't have, like, the same experiences as other people, but, like, there is something about, like, that first person that you tell when you've been, like, thinking about something that you're really not sure, like, how people will feel about it. Like, after you tell someone, it gives you a little boost. So I don't think it's entirely implausible that just because like but he didn't tell someone, right? But seeing his reaction, I guess, like knowing that he has someone supportive, I can see how it would give you a confidence boost, even if you're maybe not where you want to be yet, you know?
In the next book, but he is clearly experiencing some character development beyond just the fact of like coming out to one person. So Nico's had some character development, Jason has had some character development, Hazel's got some stuff going on with like her ability to control the mist, which I think is really cool.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about
also like that there was a chapter where
controlling the mist.
Yeah, Jason and Nico go off in this chapter, Hazel and Jason go off in a chapter, like these pairs that aren't normally working together are working together, and I think
Same
that's
in
really
book
neat.
5, yeah.
What else? I feel like we didn't get a lot of Piper. Oh yeah, there was one really good scene with Piper. I really liked that this book was kind of set up as like vignettes. You'll have
They're all like that. I don't know why I like just
Hazel's
figured it
big
out.
Scene, and then Jason's big scene. And in Piper's thing, she has to sort of like stand up to that ice lady, Keone. I'm not sure how to pronounce her name, but she has to stand up to this like ice goddess, demigod chick. She's like, what do I do? I'm not smart. Like, by the way, she compares herself to Annabeth way too much. She's like, I'm not smart like Annabeth.
I keep smiling because like these are things that I'm gonna talk about when you see my reaction to the 5th book. Like I'm like, my camera keeps dying. I hate this because my arm gets tired. So sorry if the angle is not great, but I'm looking at myself and not the camera. But anyway, I think before my camera died, I gave like a knowing look, and I keep giving these knowing looks to the camera because the things that I'm saying here are things that I mentioned when I talked about the 5th book. So like you'll see, you'll understand. It's foreshadowing.
I'm not strong like Frank or something. I don't know who's strong. Jason. I'm not good like anyone else. All I can do is be pretty. And then she like basically uses sort of that like annoying charm speak. Like it's very much like you.
This is what I was.
Everyone's had someone talk to you in that manipulative
This is what I was
way
thinking
before.
of in the 3rd book. I guess
She kind of uses that, and you know you hate that when it happens to you, but she's using it against our enemies. So it's like, okay, Piper, I see you, and she's like convincing them to do what she wants, and it's just very well done. She uses this power that she is kind of ashamed of to her advantage, and I thought that Piper's character development was very well done. And then, of course, we have Percy and Annabeth, who are just so great throughout this book. They just have like the most adorable, unwavering love for each other as they're like literally walking.
Oh my gosh. Like, I feel like earlier I was like talking about how I just really didn't like Percy and Annabeth too much in the 1st series, and like by the time we got to the 5th book, I was like, yeah, they're pretty cute, but wow. In House of Hades, they're just like, they're too cute. They're like they're going through hell together, literally. They're very sweet. It's like, you got some like hurt comfort tropes in there. Like, they're, oh my gosh, they're so cute. I don't know, like they're very cute. They love each other so much. It's freaking adorable. Okay, moving on.
They're there for each other. They support each other. And they go through hell. Literally.
Cool. Great joke. Very original.
You know, they just have a bunch of trials and tribulations in Tartarus.
Solid
and,
alliteration.
You know, they obviously make it out on the other side and everything works out okay. I don't know. I thought their section was good. I can't think of something like super noteworthy off the top of my head. But yeah, I thought it was really sweet. I love their little relationship. They're so cute. Book 4, really, really good. I'm very excited for the 5th book. I want to see.
Yeah, this was another one where like basically after I finished the 3rd book, I was like, I need the 4th book now. And after I finished the 4th book, I was like, I need the 3rd book now. I'm gonna go read it again. After I finished the 4th book, I was like, I need the 5th book now. But I didn't end up reading it until like December or January. This video was in May, so whoops. But I did really want to I was like, I want more.
Oh, I didn't talk about Leo.
Oh, Leo.
My boy. Oh my gosh.
I was wondering about that.
Again, honestly, Leo didn't have like a ton of character development, but he did have his little vignette was getting stuck on the island with Calypso, and he sort of like, I guess his character development is like falling in love with Calypso, and you know, I'm not super big on the romance plots.
Leo is like, I mean, I know that Leo is like, he's girl crazy. I can't deny it. But I relate to Leo, and I love that he didn't really have a romantic arc. Like, I just, you know, again, it's like, I know he's not Ace, but it's my little headcanon. So getting him a girlfriend, I was like, okay, fine.
So I wasn't like, hooray, my guy found a girlfriend. It's sweet, I guess, you know, a very Riordan relationship.
Yes, I forgot about that. It's another love to hate, you know, oh, we're going to bicker like all the time until we're crazy about each other. Like, he really only knows like one way to write a budding relationship. But I will say, like, something that I haven't commented on is like, after the couples start dating, like, I think they're like very sweet. Like, I love seeing moments between Jason and Piper. They're very sweet and just like kind of cliche towards each other. Percy and Annabeth still do kind of like a little bit of like bicker flirting sometimes, which is cute. Frank and Hazel, again, like, I just don't feel like we see enough of Frank and Hazel. But like, they're fine, they're cute, but like, it's just like, I don't know, there's like, I do like seeing the couples together, like, after they know they like each other, and interacting in a more, I don't know, like, positive way.
That was kind of Leo's character development. And
yeah, I don't know if getting a girlfriend counts as character development, but he gets his character development
in this book, with Frank too, where he like gives him like a fireproof pouch for his wood that can't burn. And
oh yeah,
that was nice because, you know, Leo and Frank have been like irrationally dramatic towards each other from day one. So yeah, I don't know. Things are looking up for our crew, and yeah, I'm looking forward to book 5.
Yeah, I was gonna say things are looking up. Like, it gets pretty intense in the 5th book, but I mean, I don't know. You go to Tartarus, it can literally only go up from there. Now, this part I'm actually recording before. I haven't watched all my impressions yet. I'm filming this out of order. First, I want to just talk about my impressions of the very last book, the 5th book in the series, and the series overall. I forget that I have like a mic on my body, so I don't have to stay near the camera for you to hear me. But yeah, I want to talk about this bad boy before I kind of like remind myself of my old thoughts. You know what I mean? So yeah, finished Blood of Olympus. Oh my gosh. First off, this book is like 500 pages long, and I finished it in a week. And if you watch any of my reading vlogs, you know that I am a pretty slow reader. So 500 pages in a week is like very impressive for me. But I just like about halfway through, it really starts to look like the world is gonna fall to fire. You know, to storm or fire, the world must fall. And I'm like, it's gonna be Leo, and I love Leo. I'm recording this before my other reactions, so probably I've already gushed about Leo earlier in the video, but gushed or gushed? How do you say that word? Anyway, I love Leo so much. So I was like really invested. I was like, Leo, don't die on me. And I was just like, I was going so fast. I will say, honestly, the way Leo's stuff kind of ended, I was a little disappointed. Like, I basically had the sense that he was going to sacrifice himself and like go find Calypso. But the way he did it to me was a little anticlimactic. Like, I love how Leo solves problems in these like creative engineer kind of ways. He's just such a like techie nerd, right? And there was not really any explanation as to how he found Ogygia. Yeah, like they just flew around and the GPS was messed up, and it's like, we found it, and it's like, but how? I don't know. I want like some kind of cool techie explanation. I get that like when someone has a plan in a book, you can't, like, say the plan. You have to, like, reveal it as it happens so that it's surprising to the reader. But, like, I don't know. I wanted a little bit more of an explanation of that. I thought it was very sweet what he did. It's great. Like, it's a really good arc for Leo. So, like, it's a happy ending. It's nice, and, you know, it makes you think about, like, how's everyone else going to react when, like, he comes back and he's like, plot twist, I'm alive. But yeah, I would have liked a little bit more detail. Yeah, so I mean, you know, it's kind of the culmination of everything that has happened throughout the series. So the 7 they're going to Athens to try to, like, stop Gaia. I don't know how to say any of these words. Anyway, they're trying to stop Earth Mother, from taking over the world. You know, it's just your typical, right? That they gotta stop the bad guy from doing the bad thing. But it's like the culmination of all the elements of the prophecy, and, you know, you kind of like basically, you know, it's a series. All the other stuff has been building up to this, and I actually liked it quite a lot. I didn't love the 5th book of the original series. I mean, it was good, but in general, these books, I mean, I don't know, maybe I'll rewatch that video and see that I actually did enjoy it. But a lot of the time when there's, like, the last book in the series, it's like a bunch of big battles and fighting, and I just don't do well with action scenes. I just kind of zone out. I felt like the action scenes were pretty, I don't know, like, they were interesting. I was into them, and I think part of it was the fact that, like, it was high stakes for me. Like, it was pretty clear that, like, someone is, like, supposed to die. So I was just like, I don't know, I was really into it. I wanted to make sure everyone turned out okay. So I'm not gonna lie, I can't remember the last time we got to see Frank and Hazel's perspective, but, like, I miss Frank and Hazel. I really like them, and I felt, like, kind of bummed that I didn't get to see their perspectives. But obviously it was, like, really nice to see Nico and Reina, especially Reina, actually. I didn't expect myself to say that because I do love Nico. But yeah, Reina has had a pretty interesting arc. I feel like we started out not being huge fans of her, right? Was she like the Praetor? It's been a while since I've read the first book, but she was like a Praetor, or someone who was just kind of, like, mean for seemingly no reason. And it's good to see her perspective and kind of, like, her motivations and the wow, like, a lot of crazy stuff that she's been through. Like, it's just, it's really nice to see her perspective and kind of gain that empathy, sympathy for her. And also, her relationship with Nico is so touching. They're, like, so, like, just a sweet friendship. She, like, cares so much about him. And, like, he is... We'll just transition into Becca gushes about Nico, because he is, like, sacrificing himself so much, like, constantly, like, exhausted, fading out of existence, and, you know, Reina's just like, I want to give you a hug, but I know you're not a very touchy person, and I'm like, that's so sweet. Oh my gosh, their little moment at the end, I'm like, oh, so adorable. But yeah, Nico's great. I will say that another thing that kind of kept me going through the fight scenes is his little budding romance with Will towards the end. I thought that was very sweet. I thought their little bickering and stuff was very cute. Very Rick Riordan, you know? I believe that I mentioned this with Piper and Jason and their whole, like, you know, they've got, like, Sparky or whatever. Annabeth and Percy have, like, seaweed brain, right? And then, so when I saw Death Boy, I was like, really? He's got a formula for his relationships. It was very cute. And it gave me, like, something else other than just, like, action and fighting to kind of, like, I don't know, it shook things up a little bit. I don't particularly remember, I just don't love Piper and Jason a ton. Like, I really do like them, and it's funny, I keep doing this. Whenever I see that a chapter is going to be about Piper or Jason, I'm like, I don't care. And then I read them, and as I'm reading, I'm like, I love Jason. I love Piper. Like, I don't know, like, for whatever reason, their stuff doesn't stick with me, but when I'm in the moment reading about those two characters, I love them. Oh yeah, one thing that I really appreciated was Piper's kind of friendship with Annabeth. I believe it was because of something that had happened in the 4th book. They were, like, growing closer together, and I really like their friendship. They're very different characters. And I love this idea of, you know, like the girl who's a little not like other girls and the like more, you know, girly girl. Like she's like, I mean, Piper's not like a girly girl, but you know what I mean? Like she's not very confident in herself. She knows she's pretty, but like she doesn't think she's smart. She doesn't like, she thinks that other people don't view her as smart or capable. She kind of views herself as like very different from Annabeth. So like seeing those two be friends, it's very sweet. Same with like, there's a moment where like Jason and what's his name? Percy, the main character. Jason and Percy kind of have a moment where they take on a bad guy together. There's a good moment with like Leo and Percy too, that I really appreciated, where they have like kind of a similar sense of humor, and I'm like, that's adorable. Like just all the kind of the ways that the characters work together, and maybe pairs and friendships that we haven't seen before. There's just a lot of that in this book, and I thought it was sweet. Like so many times throughout this book, I was like, gosh, I love that character. Gosh, I love that character. They're all great. So pretty solid ending to the series. For me, not too crazy actiony, but like if you're an actiony person, you'll probably still enjoy it. And yeah, it's a good one. All right, so that's the video. Sorry about my camera just like dying a bunch, but I mean, I've been recording for 2.5 hours, so I don't know what I expected. I really need to just get another battery for this camera. But that was fun. I mean, as you can tell at this point, like I really have enjoyed the Percy Jackson series and Heroes of Olympus series. So I obviously want to keep reading the series. I'm like 5th book, really enjoyed it. I'm not done with these characters. So I'm going to put a poll in my community tab and let you guys decide for me what series I should read next. But yeah, I know Trials of Apollo has some of the same characters. I'm pretty sure Magnus Chase has some of the same characters, or at least it's like, obviously, like, it's Annabeth's cousin, right? I think. So, you know, you guys let me know what you think I should read next, and I'll do it because I want to. I freaking love these books. I love all these characters. They just make my heart so happy. Oh, another idea that I had, let me know if you want me to do this, but I was thinking I could react to the movie because I haven't seen the movie. And well, actually I did see it once, but I hadn't read the books yet, and I was like just watching it like when my family was in a hotel, so I was only like half paying attention. But like, it'd be fun. Let's say it'd be fun. Maybe that's even not the right word. Anyway, I'm curious about the movie, I guess is what I'm saying. So I can do like a reaction video of that. But yeah, this video is way too long, so I'm gonna wrap it up. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know in the comments like what your experience with the series is. Did you like it at first, or are you like me and you like weren't a huge fan but you grew to love it? If you're watching this video, I assume that you like the series to some degree, but you know, let me know what your experience with all this is. And other than that, if you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I put videos out every other Friday about music, media, linguistics, and whatever else is on my mind that week. Thanks so much for watching. See ya.